Hello, YouTube, and welcome to The Real Siberius. On this episode, I wanted to talk about what does it mean to be tough? To me, toughness is mental, not physical. You can be physically tough, but if you're not mentally tough, it doesn't matter. If you break your finger and you're not mentally tough, that finger injury can dismantle your life, especially if it's on your dominant hand. If it's your pointer finger on your primary hand and you're not mentally tough, that can change the course of your life while that finger is injured. If you have to wear a brace on it, if you have to wear a splint on it, if you have to tape your two fingers together, it can dictate how you live your life while you're injured. Obviously, that's not the only form of toughness. Pushing through pain is certainly one level of toughness, but it's not the only one. When I had my accident in 2023, everything was uncomfortable for me. Walking, talking, reading, everything was uncomfortable. And if I didn't have the mental toughness that I have, it would have been extremely easy to give up. It would have been extremely easy to not push myself, to not challenge myself, to not hold myself accountable to be better. Now, what does this have to do with basketball? Well, toughness is a huge part of basketball. When I very first started watching Jordan play in 1985, he was just getting abused. Everyone in the league at that time was just getting abused. It was so physical that in order to get to the basket, in order to make a shot, you were constantly challenged and challenged physically. It was maybe not the most physical era, because my understanding of very, very early basketball is people died. So it wasn't that dangerous, but certainly within the modern era, since the merger, I think it was one of the most physical eras. Maybe I'm wrong. If you disagree, I would certainly love to hear your thoughts. And I'm always willing to be corrected. So these are just a few images that I pulled off the internet, but I think they demonstrate some of the challenges that Jordan faced on the court that modern players don't have to face. And while I no longer have the memory to remember these exact snapshot moments, I remember watching game after game after game where similar things would happen, and sometimes fouls weren't even called for these, or they would be technical fouls. They weren't flagrant fouls, because until Jordan went to the league about the Pistons literally physically assaulting him, there were no flagrant fouls. So I think it's interesting when modern players today talk about toughness. I don't think they know what toughness is. I don't think they understand the sacrifices and things that players in past eras had to endure for the game to get to where it is now. And I don't necessarily think where it is now is in a good place, and I don't think some of those changes should have been made. However, they certainly weren't dealing with this. I mean, when LeBron ran into DiCenzo, because that's what happened, he ran into him and fell down and pretended to hurt himself, or apparently suffered a level 2 MCL sprain. It wasn't from something like this. I mean, I don't understand how you can run into somebody like a linebacker and then you get hurt. If that is the case, that's certainly not toughness. I was going to say maybe you need to condition your body in a different way, or maybe you need to stretch or try Pilates or something, because running into someone else shouldn't injure you. Or if it is, you did it wrong. Or more than likely, you just weren't really injured. It's difficult to say. However, I think toughness is something that is sorely lacking in our society. And I think there's a misrepresentation of what toughness is. If your definition of toughness is being able to beat someone up, well, then you're probably tougher than I am, because I'm now a crippled, so beating me up isn't particularly difficult. However, if you want to have a battle of wills, if you want to see who can overcome adversity and challenges, I'll take on anyone. The things that I have endured in my life have absolutely made me tough. Not physically tough. I mean, I have and continue to endure physical pain every single day of my life. That's just my life. That's not even worth mentioning anymore, because it's a constant that never goes away. My legs constantly hurt. Dealing with my head and even trying to lay on a pillow is extremely uncomfortable. The right side of my head, where my skull was replaced, when my cranioplasty was done, they had to stretch the skin on the right side of my head so tight that it doesn't move. So if I press my fingers against the right side of my head and try to move the skin on my right side, it doesn't. It's stretched as taut as it can be. And it's been 2 years. I don't think it's going to loosen up. I just think this is the reality of my life. Now, one of the realities of that is I now have a rather flat affect. When I'm talking with people, when I'm interacting with people, my brain learned that if I don't move my face a lot, it doesn't cause me pain, and therefore it doesn't cause me discomfort. So I don't smile as much as I used to. I don't furrow my brow as much as I used to. I've had to have a number of conversations with people and explain to them I may look pissed off, or I may look bored, or I may look disinterested. That's not how I feel. I've had to learn to articulate to people how I'm feeling, because my face doesn't show it anymore. Because, like I said, my brain learned if I don't move my face a lot, it just saves me discomfort. And so it stopped doing it. I wasn't even aware of the fact that it was doing it. Somebody pointed it out to me and said, "Well, you just seem really upset all the time." I'm not upset at all. Or, you seem kind of down, or you seem disinterested in what I'm saying. Or, if I'm having a very joyful conversation, I just have the same flat affect. Now, I certainly don't want to make this video about how tough I am. That's not my intention. I personally, when I think about toughness, I think about two people in regards to basketball. I think about Michael Jordan, because I think about the abuse he endured at the hands of the Bad Boy Pistons and the New York Knicks. I also think about John Stockton. I mean, I believe he played for 19 seasons, And for 16 seasons, he played 82 games. That is toughness. You don't think he got injured? You don't think he played hurt? There was no load management back then. That was, I get paid to play this game, and I'm going to play it no matter the cost. I remember he got in a car accident on the way to a game and got a little bit banged up. He still played. That's toughness. And while it's certainly physical toughness, that's more mental toughness. That's him saying, I don't care that my body's banged up. I'm here to play. I can still physically play, so I'm going to play. And I think that's something that's sorely lacking. I think your convictions need to be stronger than your excuses. And it's certainly something that I have struggled with in my life, because I had some pretty damn strong excuses. Being physically challenged the majority of my life, certainly my adult life, and mainly because of the physical hardship I put my body through when I was young, jumping out of windows, jumping off roofs, getting in fights, playing really hard, doing a lot of stupid stunts that just created wear and tear on my body, and my body doesn't work as well anymore. Now, would I take it back? Absolutely not. I had a blast doing the shit that I did, going into mosh pits and getting kicked in the back by a pair of Doc Martens by somebody that's crowd surfing, head banging until I couldn't move my neck the next day, getting into shoving matches with people or getting punched in the face. I wouldn't take any of that back. I jumped out of a 3-story window once and completely misshaped my hip for the rest of my life. Certainly not one of the smartest things I've ever done, but it was cool as shit when I did it. Now, am I saying people should go jump out of 3-story windows? Absolutely not. It was probably an extremely stupid thing, and thankfully, I don't know how, despite all my physical limitations, I'm built like fucking Iron Man, and I don't die when I should. I don't get as hurt when I should. And that's a gift. And it's a gift that, quite frankly, I didn't realize and embody until I got too old. But I don't take it for granted now. I exercise 6 days a week. Not particularly well. Not to a whole lot of avail. I always tell my brother I have to work out 6 days a week to still be crippled. But if I didn't exercise, I don't even know where the hell I would end up. Especially as I continue to get older and older, I could end up being an invalid in a bed, and I'll be fucked if that's going to happen. So I exercise 6 days a week. I do cardio. I do weight training. And every single time I have to push myself because my brain tells me, stop, this is uncomfortable. Stop, this is uncomfortable. Stop, this is uncomfortable. Well, you know what? Life's pretty uncomfortable. And if you don't push through it, if you don't push past it, it's going to continue to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with the discomfort. You have to embrace the discomfort. There is no progress without discomfort. And that's where toughness comes in. Are you willing to push yourself? Are you willing to challenge yourself? Are you willing to take whatever your adversity is, whatever your challenge is, and say to it, no, I'm not going to let you win. I still have to walk with a walker. Not around my house, thankfully. But if I'm leaving my house, it doesn't matter if I'm going to the store. It doesn't matter if I'm going to a game or if I'm going to a concert. I have to take a walker because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to go. And I'm not going to miss out on those things. I'm certainly not going to miss out on spending that time with my friends or my family. So every single time I leave my house, I have to leave my house with my walker. I'm 49 years old. I didn't want to have to use a walker, but sometimes life's a bitch. But I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm not going to let it stop me from doing the things that I want to do. So I have a walker that can go off-road. So I can walk through dirt, or I can walk through sand, or I can go through gravel, because I still want to be able to do those things. We need to be tougher. We need to embrace adversity. We need to embrace the challenge. I'm by no means perfect. There are still some challenges I struggle to face. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop trying because of it. I'd be curious to hear your experiences. I've shared a number of my experiences. I'd be curious to hear the struggles and the adversity that you've had to overcome, and what you did and how you did it, and what inspired you. And if you failed like I have, how did you overcome those failures? I'd love to hear it in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. As always, I want to acknowledge the content creators that inspired me to create this channel. Uncommon Sense, Angry Old Hoops, Self-Researched NBA Facts, 93Z, Sports and Fitness Rants, Uncut Hoops, Scap Attack, Speam Engine, In Your Face Hoops, Eddie TV. I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate your insights, your perceptions, and your humor. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.